So word of warning, this is going to be a lot less produced than my normal videos. Usually I try to heavily edit these and give you a lot more to look at. Just know that if this is the first time you are watching my stuff, almost any other video is going to have a lot more to enjoy with your eyes. You are best off treating this one like a podcast. Also, if this is your first time watching one of my videos, I bang on and on about not the review at the start of this particular video more than I normally do. I know you may want to hurry up and get to the goods, so I'll put a timestamp so you can skip to it in the video. Anyways, first up, I want to apologize for the lack of roast demands that you've all been experiencing, and also the disappearance of the Friday video of late. I want to get back to doing both those things, but I am just desperately tired right now. I think completing What's the Best Grimlock kind of hit me with a strong wave of creator burnout for 3 reasons. For starters, I've been working 60 hours a week minimum on the channel for the last 2.5 years. I love doing it, but it does take a lot out of me. Secondly, and more importantly, the What's the Best Grimlock video was intensely hard to make. That one episode was not only 4 times longer than any other video I've ever done, but it was even harder than that would imply. Plus, I did a full 7 straight days of roast demands leading up to it, which are each only about a minute long, but you add them together and you get basically a full episode on its own. As much as I do enjoy doing them, they're a bit creatively draining. A constant need to come up with new material every single day leaves me run a bit dry on funny things to say. But lastly, and I think most importantly, I did it. I made What's the Best Grimlock. I don't really have something to build towards anymore. That was my 10,000 subscriber goal, a video I've been thinking about making for half a decade. I didn't have 2 videos in my head. There isn't something else like that I've been dying to make. So while I love entertaining you guys and trying to help keep you informed on what may or may not be worth your hard-earned money, I do find myself a little directionless. I'm sure I will get through it, and I want to get back to giving you 3 days or more a week of listening to my annoying voice. I just want to keep you guys in the loop. I don't want you to feel bad about what's happening with me, or like you've been pushing me too hard or anything. And I'm not asking for permission to be allowed to take care of myself. I just like keeping you guys informed because I cherish you. You make what I'm doing here the most fulfilling thing I've ever done. Whenever someone tells me to quit being a YouTuber because I'm the worst aspects of this fandom rolled into a person, I just ask them, why would I ever consider stopping when you are my community? You have all made me a happier, kinder, better person, and I'm so grateful for all of you. To be clear, that's not what's impacting this episode. I'll tell you all about that after I tell you who won the Starscream giveaway. If you are wondering why I haven't done so far, it's because there was a snafu, as there always is. I miscounted which number email I was on and informed the wrong person that they were the winner. Rather than play with their emotions like that, I just decided to give one of them the Space Bumblebee that was returned to me because the taxes to receive it were over $70 when I did the previous giveaway, and that was too much for the winner to pay. And I don't blame them for that. One of the winners got back to me, the other one hasn't. So I was giving them time to respond. But I'll announce them now so I can hopefully catch your attention and get you to please check your email. Congratulations to Dylan Chen, who was the person who was supposed to win, and now if Prime02 could please get back to me through your email. You are the other winner. Anyways, as I alluded to earlier, this video is not going to be as well produced as typical for me. And the reason for that is actually pretty simple. Over the weekend, I got to play D&D in person for the first time in about 3 years. Take a wild guess as to why we didn't do it in person up till now over that time. And well, it kind of got out of hand. We ended up playing for, about 13 hours. And then there was a multiple hour cleanup after that. Needless to say, just about nothing got done. In the game or, work on YouTube-wise. We barely cleared 3 rooms of a dungeon in all that time because we are insane like that. And then, all play and no work doesn't exactly answer the many comments you had in the last video. Mostly about a Waffle House for some reason I do not understand. Nor does it write the scripts or record them. So I got half a day to actually make this video, which means say hello to my turntable. You will be seeing a lot of it in this video. Almost exclusively if this episode works out how I think it will. Wish me luck! And without further ado, MMC's second use of the Optus Pexis mold, Optus Prominon. So, for those not in the know, the original Optus Pexis was based on the IDW Comics version of Orion Pax, who was a John Woo action hero super cop. This is based on a different comic book Optimus Prime, specifically Dreamwave Comics' War Within Optimus Prime. Calling this an interpretation of that guy is a little charitable. It's more a heavy reinterpretation, as near every detail is about as wrong as it could be. Even the parts they resculpted or completely altered for this specific use of the mold weren't really all that bothered with trying to be, even a little accurate. That is not what his titty lights are supposed to look like, even though they gave them the crossbars. His arm guns are not supposed to be partially blue, and he's supposed to have 3 of them on each arm, not just 2. Most astonishingly of all, even though they've given this figure hip skirts the original toy didn't have, the design isn't supposed to have hip skirts in the first place. They added a thing to make it less accurate on purpose. It's gotta be intentional at this point. It just has to. Are they trying to shoot the bird at Dreamwave? I mean, earned, but weird. So if you go to any fan of the Dreamwave comic design and tell them, here's a figure for you, they are going to laugh in your goddamn face because this is just about as physically different as it could be, while still claiming to be an interpretation of that guy. This is almost a Bay Movie's level of disrespect to the design. Either this was intentional, or whoever retooled this didn't bother looking up a reference image and just based this whole thing on their own memories. Getting past all that though, this thing looks badass. I like the design of the regular Optus Pexis. It is a really awesome variation of the Optimus Prime design. This is an even cooler take. It's got punchier colors and a meaner design. Everything about this looks like the battle-hardened version of what that was. And normally I'd put accessories in its own segment, but here I think it's important because it feels like all of them were changed to be part of this figure's new vibe. He's got two way more hardcore blasters than the original. These look sick. He's got a giant axe. This is sick. He's got his wrist guns with an extra dose of sickness because they can transform into extend. He's got a huge sword with a different matrix of leadership than the lame one he also comes with mounted in it. This looks sick. He's got these two, I guess, beam throwers or something that can for some reason mount onto his guns. These do not look sick. Instead, they look clumsy and heavy. But you can mount them on his back, and now they look sick. However, I did have a bit of trouble with mine. See, both the ones I got came with a left side mounting piece, which means that some other person probably got one with two right side mounting pieces. I used a file to extend the hole on one of these so it can fit both sides now, but I have to ask, why are these parts keyed to begin with? There's no reason the peg they attach to has to be asymmetrical. If they weren't, then either one could fit either side the same way. He comes with these things. I have no idea what these are, but they can kind of work like magazines for his giant fuck-off rifles. Sick. And then he's got a face with a nipple on it. Sick. Like in a different context to all the other six. But that's a lot more than the other Optus Pexes came with, and man does it make armoring up this guy a joy. But it brings to light one extra problem. Posability would be its own segment normally, but this is a repaint. So I'm not really going to get into it, just mention that there's an issue now that wasn't something to be concerned about before. See, the problem here that I didn't find to really be the case last time is that this comes with a sword and an axe, and while this is one of the most posable figures of all time, it is conspicuously missing some sword-wielding wrists. It's got up and down at the palm, which I guess is called extension and flexion, but it's got no, what I guess is called adduction or deviation. Why are there two names for the same thing? And as a result, he can't hold his sword over his head properly, or point it at an opponent, or make a convincing swing of any kind. I know that you don't want to do that too much with a sword or it will damage your arm, but this is a robot, so one, why would that be a factor to him? And two, he can't do it at all, which looks really bad when handling a sword. I think that this very easily could have been remedied with a slight change to the joint. Currently, it appears to be hinged like this, so it can do the whole extension flexion thing. But there's really not a reason it has to be connected on both sides like it is. What you could do is remove one side and then extend the other deeper into the palm, and put it on a ball joint so it doesn't pop free. Then you could either put a cut into the inside of the palm where you can't really see it, so the wrist can hinge out through it like this, or you could make the housing for the ball peg a tube so it could come out like this. And either way you do it, it would retain the current level of motion it already has, plus it wouldn't require a higher number of parts than the figure already uses. I know at least one MMC designer watches my videos, so I hope I'm not just talking out of my ass here and I'm giving you a useful idea. Take it for free if you want it. And then the head is another interesting point of the figure. It's not the same head that the Optus Pexes had or any of its other versions, and it's a million miles from the head that the War Within Optimus is supposed to have. Honestly, what this really feels like is an updated head to appease me specifically. The guy who's been calling out Optus Pexes' old head as being based off an off-model shot from the IDW comic. And if it is, hell yeah, you are welcome. This looks so much cooler. I make good decisions. I love it. So what we have here is a new version of Optus Pexes who looks way cooler in robot mode when the original figure already looked awesome. It has punchy colors that make my heart sing, it's got new sculpting that makes it look dangerous, and it comes with an absolute arsenal that the old figure lacked. This is Orion Pax on the SWAT team, and I'm living for it. I wonder if they fixed the leg panels so they don't break anymore, but I don't advise you testing that. So the look of this is better than ever, and the accessories are better than ever, but the posing is the same as ever, and the transformation is the same as ever, just with more weapons getting stored on it this time. And then the alt mode is the same as ever. And I think that this is the biggest misstep of the whole figure here. The original Optus Pexes alt mode wasn't actually that different to the War Within alt mode from the beginning. Sure, it was trying to capture a different comic book, but they weren't unreconcilable. Really, I think what they could have done to, for once with this figure, lean into the design they are trying to be, is just resculpt the canopy on the vehicle node. Would it have been perfect? No, far from it. But it would have felt like the character even a little. So I'd say that overall, this is a product-improved take on the original Optus Pexes. A figure with all of that thing's strengths, but with a better head, a nicer paint job, way more and cooler accessories. I undersold just how awesome stuff like the axe and sword look like on their own. Seriously, they are painted like MMC loves you personally. This, however, is not really going to fit the War Within Optimus-shaped hole in your heart if you have one, and should not be treated as something meant to do that. This is Optus Pexes that you don't have to pay scalpers to get, but hard fucking core. So if you wanted an Optus Pexes, I can fully recommend this. I bought it, and I still have my other one, and I'm more than content to keep both. It's a great new rendition of a great figure, and if you want one, I say get it. And that's not half what I have to say, but it's enough what I have to say. And I know, you know, what everyone else tells you to do at the end of these videos. So, if you liked what you saw here, please do that. And if you'd like to take it a step further, then please share this video with any friend you think may be interested. I hope you all enjoyed listening to me waste your time.